All right. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another primetime Monday Night Football live stream, joined by, as always, every Monday, Bridget Case. Bridget, how are you?
I'm doing great. I mean, we were just talking. I was doing a lot of yelling this weekend. I think that's kind of the sports fan, struggle by this time of year. We're all going through it between just what's going around and yelling at our teams or whatever we're at. So,
Yep.
yeah. So I mean, the passion will obviously come out in my plays for tonight, but mostly just because I've been screaming all weekend.
Yeah, I get that. We were talking right before, but people that watch my YouTube channel know after the Phillies game, there was about a 3-day span where I could not talk. And of course, I didn't mention this part, but in that 3 days, I had to record a video for someone. They're doing it was like a fantasy basketball video, and they were fine with it. But the guy messaged me after the fact. He was like, "Where were you screaming all weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. It's really, really bad timing, but I can't talk."
At least they knew. I mean, they were like, "Okay, where were you?"
Yeah, they're like, well, this guy clearly did something. Either he's deathly ill or he was screaming somewhere all weekend. And luckily, it was the screaming part.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, not the deathly ill part. So, yeah,
No.
I feel like, and again, we were just talking about this. It's been a pretty brutal slate of games we've had on Monday Night Football the past couple of weeks. Sunday Night Football was, theoretically, last night a good game. Ended up not really being that great because the Bills
I was going to say, and it started in the first quarter. I thought we were going to have a shootout.
Yeah, I know.
On
And then the Bills couldn't do
things
anything.
got going, and then it was just dead until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they should have made that Eagles-Cowboys game Sunday Night Football.
I
Because
know.
that was unbiased, just an actual good football game.
No, but we all knew that was going to be a great game. I mean, it's NFC
Yeah.
East rivalry. We all knew that was going to be good. I was thinking the same things. I think it's just like the emotion playing into the Bills Bengals is what pushed that into the Sunday night slot.
Damar Hamlin. Yeah, I get it. And the Eagles have enough. Cowboys get enough primetime games. It's not actually that big of a deal.
That's so true. Even if the Cowboys suck, they are always going to get primetime.
There's always going to be Eagles Cowboys. Yeah, I don't know if the other game because they play twice. I don't know what the other game, if that's on primetime or whatnot. We'll get to that when we get there. But for tonight, we got Chargers versus Jets. I believe you are a Chargers fan, so a little bit of rooting interest for you on this one. Admittedly, not going to be a great game. No offense to your Chargers, but not expecting a great game here. I think the odds are mostly updated since I did the graphic. I guess you can get the Chargers -3. It's actually 115 at most places. It's still -120 at FanDuel, but the Jets, you can get them +3.5 if you're in Colorado or New Jersey at Sport Trade with an over-under of 41. That's basically everywhere. We'll stick with the main lines, and then we'll do player props after. What do you think, just straight up total money line spread in this one?
So I'm on the under here. I honestly don't think we're gonna have a high scoring game. I'm kind of staying away from the spread just because I feel like it being so close, this game could go either way. I'm obviously love my Chargers, but I think for my experience just over the years as a sports journalist, I've gotten to a really good place in being unbiased enough, to know that our defense has struggled a ton, and oh my God, who are they? The Jets. And the Jets defense obviously has been not a great surprise, but like a huge reason why the Jets are not totally sucking right now with Zach Wilson. And I think that both of these teams are I think that I think a lot of points would be coming from the Chargers today if they were not playing the Jets defense, and who's been a very pleasant surprise. So I think honestly, I'm on the under here. I have it at FanDuel. It moved. I'm on under 40.5, but I mean, regardless, if you get it at 41 or 40.5, it's like, I guess it depends on where you're taking it, whether it would push or not. But as long as they hit about 40 points for me, I'm good. I of course want to see Justin Herbert passing a lot, but I think that this game, honestly, on both sides is going to be played a lot on the ground, which is actually interesting compared to what props that I have. But yeah, I don't think, and just the way that our primetime games have going, especially for Mondays and Thursdays, it's not going to be a high scoring affair. So
yeah, I agree. And the over under is kind of reflecting that. It's pretty low at 41.
Yeah.
I don't have anything officially on the under, although I agree with you. I was actually just texting someone before saying that I like the under on this one. I more so actually like the Jets +3.5. The Chargers, I mean, the Jets, it's like a weird thing where the Chargers have, I would feel like if you just look at talent, more talent than the Jets.
Right.
But obviously the quarterback isn't even a question, but even the Chargers defense has good players on it, but they just are terrible. And the Jets are like,
it's our coaching.
Yeah, their coaching is terrible. And the Jets are like, it's weird to say this with the quarterback of Zach Wilson, but they just feel like a winning group. Like they're 4-3. They have no weakness.
And they've won the last 3 straight, right?
Yeah, they've won 3 straight. They've scored 1 offensive touchdown in the last 2 games each, like 1 touchdown each, and yet they're 2-0 in those games. It's because that defense is nasty. And the Chargers, I mean, the Jets defense is like the perfect matchup for how the Chargers struggle. Like they're terrible against teams that are physical, that will like bump them and just generally play tough. The Chargers are good when games turn into track meets. That's not going to happen in this one.
No.
I don't necessarily feel comfortable taking the Jets to win straight up because Zach Wilson, but I am very confident that the Jets are going to cover the spread. So that's like one of my favorite plays. I locked in, I put a unit on the Jets plus 3.5. I just see this one, like the Chargers having trouble moving the ball. I definitely see it going under, and I could just see it honestly, like maybe not quite as gross as the Giants game last week, but very similar to how the Giants game was last week, or even they beat the Eagles 2 weeks ago, scoring 1 offensive touchdown. It's just they shut Jalen Hurts down. Like the Eagles had 4 turnovers. The Chargers could easily do that again.
Yeah.
Looks like we have another Chargers fan in the chat. Defensive coach can't make this talented defense good.
Dude, exactly. Yeah. And Justin, honestly, I was so pissed because we've not had a defensive head coach since, Marty Schottenheimer. Like I'm so tired of Staley Wright. Like, and honestly, the biggest thing I was excited about when he was coming in was we'd been through so many offensive coaches and nothing working out. And then Brandon Staley coming in and had a lot of success with the Rams defense. And it's been a struggle, but I saw a funny tweet. Somebody was like, obviously not talking defense, but somebody was like, I dare to see Brandon Staley go for it on 4th down against this Jets defense. And I'm I don't want to see that, but I'm like, it's kind of hysterical. Just the problems that, we run into. And I'm hoping, I don't know. It's, it's always so funny when you're a fan of a team and there needs to be some changes made. And especially because I believe our roster is so strong compared to like our record. And it is funny because I'm like, we don't have consistent coaching. And that's for me, like a huge reason why I'm always okay, like fading players. Like, and I don't think has anything to do with them. And I know that like Austin Eckler can carry this team and thank God he's healthy now. But yeah, it's like, I'm always fine with fading the Chargers just because I know where we're at. And it is funny though, because like last week, I would say, I feel like last week against the Bears,
they look good. But, finally.
Yeah, seriously. But it is funny because you're like, ooh, do I want them to win this game or do I want our coach fired? It's just that constant struggle. And then of course the mental part of it, that's the hardest part I feel like about betting with your team is just you're overthinking it and it's more emotional. So I often will have trouble with player props when I do bet on my team just because I'm like, oh yeah, Austin Eckler could totally like make this happen. And I'm just
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers are they're 2-4 against the spread, 2-4-1 against the spread this year, 1 push against the Raiders when they were 7-point favorites. They won exactly by 7. And one of those wins was last week against the Bears, who like don't really have a professional quarterback or team. So it's just not good. So yeah, I think this is going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be
they did look okay yesterday.
Yeah, they started off good. They scored 14 points in the first half, and then they did nothing. They scored 0 or 3 points in the second half. So I will never put my faith in the Chargers. I just cannot get there.
It's too hard.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I also like so I agree with you on the under. I am solely on the Jets plus 3.5. I don't hate a money line sprinkle. I might do that. I'll have to look into it a little bit more. Anything else about the main lines? Are you ready to move on to some player props?
No, and I think that's the thing. Like if I weren't, I was kind of like thinking Jets money line. There's definitely like good value there, especially with it being in, in MetLife. But I always want to say, because people yell at you if you say, "Oh, it's in New York." Well, I know it's not technically in New York.
Yeah,
but
it's New Jersey.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but But yeah, no, I'm staying away here. I just like the under.
Yeah, I mean that is a profitable thing to do on primetime games, is just to take the under. So we can move on to player props. We got a question from Justin. So would you take Garrett Wilson under 5.5 receptions? So one of my player props is actually on the total opposite of that. And I like actually pumping up Garrett Wilson's receptions. I have him, I think his main line is 5.5. I have him at 8+ for plus 300 odds.
Yeah, he's at 5. It's at 5.5. 5.5. You can get over 5.5 at plus 102 on FanDuel right now.
Yeah, so the books are favoring the under just in terms of the odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I took him 8+ on FanDuel. Looks like it's still plus 300. It's just a pumped up player prop that I've been doing. As bad as Zach Wilson is, he's still been targeting the shit out of Garrett Wilson. In the last 2 weeks, he has 7 receptions, 8 receptions. A couple games ago, he had 9. I think that was against the Eagles. He's just getting targeted a ton, like 14, 7, 12, 13 targets. And we've talked about how bad the Chargers defense is. They're 26th, according to DVOA. They give up the most passing yards per game at 297. They allow a 68% completion percentage, which is 24th. They're second to last in yards per attempt. They're 5th last in yards per completion. They're just bad. And so is Zach Wilson. But if it's just a bunch of screen passes to Garrett Wilson, I could see him just getting a ton of work in this one. And that's why I went with receptions over yards. Because one thing the Chargers do, like, they're a bad defense, but their philosophy is to give up everything short and to
exactly. They force short pass. It's
to take away the deep ball. And so I could see it being Garrett Wilson having a ton of receptions, not for a ton of yards. I like the yards too. I just solely went receptions. Jets money line. We got a question here. Yeah, that's what we were talking about just a couple minutes ago. I like them. I officially took their spread plus 3.5. I do like their money line. And first half spread, yeah. I mean, any way you can back the Jets, I think is fine in this one. So anyways, a lot of talking from me. What do you have in this one?
No, so I'm on a different jet on receptions and receiving yards. I'm on Breece Hall, actually. I do like it. His line is pretty teeny on FanDuel. I think it was still at
like 20 yards or something.
Yeah, I think it was
23.5.
It was at 20 earlier, and now it's up to 23.5. But oh God, wait, I just had it up. His last game, he hit like 50.
Yeah.
See. No. Oh my God. Last game, 76 receiving yards. The week prior against Philly, 54. So I know it's only been the last couple weeks that he's had. It's funny. I have my phone up and it keeps refreshing because it keeps changing. So, but anyway, so I do think that I'm not like out here saying that he's going to have another game with 50 yards. I'm assuming like he's going to hit more around 30. But right now, so it does keep moving up. But right now, I do like Breece Hall over 23.5 receiving yards. And I actually like, again, his reception line, I believe, was still at 2.5. Yeah. At 2.5, that's at over 2.5 is at minus 186 on FanDuel. So I don't, unless you're putting that as a leg with a bigger parlay. To me, I actually was taking a look at an alternate line at Breece Hall over 4 receptions, which is still, it's only at plus 110, but it's just like a little bit juiced. And I do believe that it's not going to be like a crazy long game, but there's going to be a lot of short passing. And but the Chargers allow like second most receptions per game to, opposite running backs. And I think that I think that he's gonna hit his main line easy. So I like Breece Hall for receptions and receiving yards.
Yeah, I was heavily debating between Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Honestly, the reason why I settled on Garrett Wilson is because I was looking at Breece Hall, and like his last 2 games, he just had like 2 blow up receiving yards games. He had 54 2 games ago. He had 76 last game. And I'm just like, is he really going to blow up his receiving yards 3 weeks in a row?
I don't think it's going to blow up. No, I'm assuming like maybe 30.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, getting over 23.5 is not blowing up by any means. It's just one of those things where I see 2 like outlier performances in a row.
Yeah.
And then immediately like has my antennas up that I want to almost take the opposite of that, because unless he just turns into one of those like Christian McCaffrey type receiving back, it always just swings back the other way. But I will say, like, props.cash is heavy on his receiving yards. They have him at like 35 total receiving yards. So, and I saw a lot of people on social media liking Breece Hall receiving yards. So I think I have it. It's like not one of my official plays. I think I just locked it in, just kind of like EV
right.
Embedding and stuff. So I like that a lot.
Just knowing this Chargers defense too, that's the only reason I kind of felt comfortable.
Fair. I mean, yeah, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. That's totally fair.
It's it's not terrible players. It's just there are just moments where I'm like, you intentionally just open, part the Red Sea. Here you go. Like it's hysterical. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, 5 receptions 2 weeks ago, 6 receptions last week. Like he's definitely getting the work. And the thing with like
over reception line the last 4 straight easy. So
yeah. The thing is, like, Zach Wilson's not like a check down quarterback. That's funny. Like normally when you think young, bad quarterback, you think they just throw it short all the time. That's not what Zach Wilson does. But I mean, he has been the last couple of weeks. So maybe he's turning the corner. Who knows?
Yeah.
The player prop that I liked on the Chargers was Eckler 7+ receptions. This is at plus 320. I think his main line was 4.5. His main
line, I believe, is at I think it was at 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah. 4.5. And that one's already I know at least yesterday that was sitting. Oh God. It was
I think the odds on that got nuked because I locked all these in. I locked all these in yesterday.
So yesterday it was over 4.5 and it was at plus I swear it was like at plus 180 or something. Now it's down to minus 128. So I'm with you though. I mean, everyone wants to be a pass catching back these days. I think I was talking about it last night on my stream. And a lot of people were like, no, every time I go with Austin Eckler on receptions, like it doesn't hit. And I think, last week he had a really strong receiving performance with 7 catches. Yeah. I think against Kansas City the week prior it was 1. I don't assume that he's going to have a huge, I think that I don't think there's going to be a ton of passes his way just because I think a lot of this game might end up on the ground. But I'm confident with 4.5. But what did you juice it up to? Or
so yesterday I locked it in 7+ at plus 300 or plus 320. Now that's all the way down to plus 225.
Yeah. It's crazy.
People have been hammering his receptions. Yeah. My logic with this one is because he got hurt. He played week 1 and then he got hurt and his 2 games back, he just didn't seem healthy. His first 2 games back last week was the first time that he did. He's also squeaky wheel treatment. He complained about getting lack of work last week and then immediately got 7 receptions. My logic for this one is great pass rush from the Jets. Probably just going to check it down a lot because that's all that's going to be available. Maybe not a super efficient 7 receptions, but that rarely is for running back anyways. But then mostly because the Chargers are so banged up at receiver, whenever that happens, Eckler takes the receiving work. Like Palmer's out for, I think, the next month because they put him on IR. Mike Williams is out for the year with a torn ACL. So it's really just Keenan Allen as the receiver. And he's getting the Sauce Gardner treatment. I think it's going to be a lot more work to Austin Eckler. So that's why I juiced up. I also laddered his receptions. So I took him over 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, and 6.5. I just scaled down the amount I put on each one as the odds went up. But in terms of I didn't love a lot of player props in this one just because I think the game's going to be so nasty.
Same.
And so you never know what to expect. So that's kind of why I opted for receptions over yards. Because if they just get a bunch of work that doesn't lead anywhere, then at least the receptions will hit was my logic there. Yeah.
I did like Joshua Kelly though over 21.5 rushing yards. He actually has been leading LA technically in rushing. And I think he had he said, 71 carries for 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I think between him and Austin Eckler, he might get, a couple explosive plays. And obviously, I know, gosh, he had 6 carries last week, but had 75 yards on 7 carries against Kansas City, a different defense. So I actually do like him over 21.5 rushing here. But one of my favorite boosts on FanDuel, I know, I'm not normally on a first touchdown, but I think the odds are, I like it enough. There's an Up and Adams boost on FanDuel right now for Austin Eckler or Garrett Wilson to score the first touchdown at plus 400. And I like it. It's
plus
not that I'm super confident in it happening. I just, if that was sitting a little lower, I might have a different perspective, but I actually like just under the Monday Night Lights. I think, we might have a situation as of last night where, the first quarter scores fast and then nothing until like the last couple minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. The first touchdowns always scares me. I don't really dive into that market. I mean, you can get really good odds if you can get it right. It's just a little scary.
Totally.
One touchdown play that I liked it's a little bit of more of a long shot one, but it's Parham for the Chargers.
Yes.
I mentioned how banged up their receivers are, and they are getting Everett back, but he's been hurt. It's his first game back. I don't know how much work he's going to get. And the one area in which the Jets struggle on defense is against tight ends. So you could also look at like receiving props for Parham. Like he's only 15.5 yards, and his receptions is looks like they aren't even offering receptions for Parham. If you want to do Everett, it's 2.5 receptions. So I just kind of like that as like a long shot between him and Everett. I do think one of them scores and one of them gets some work just because that's literally the only place in which the Jets struggle. Did you have any?
And you brought up a good point. You were saying injury wise, but I really like that. Like I would totally tail you on that Donald Parham touchdown. So it's at plus 410 on
410, yeah,
on FanDuel right now.
Also
like meant to mention, I'm a little bit nervous just because he's been out for a while, but Jalen Guyton comes back today. So receiving yards wise, like I just think it could be, I don't know. I'm not on a bunch of different players here just because I think that maybe the workloads gets, spread a little bit, but that's just something to keep in mind with the Chargers. Cause it's been a minute, but I actually, since I keep mentioning so much that I think a lot of the game might be on the ground, I actually do like a Justin Herbert touchdown. It's plus 550. I think on I don't know, again, Monday Night Football, I think that he might, push his way into the end zone himself. And I like it here because I'm so keen usually on looking at, player passing touchdowns, and I'm completely staying away from that today. But I do like putting a little bit of action on Herbert to do it himself, to take it in.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, for the plus 500, that's pretty good. 510, whatever it was.
Plus 550. Yeah.
Yeah, 50. Yeah. So question, this is more not like a one about the game tonight, just in general. Do you think we should have picked Flowers or JSN over Quentin Johnson? I'm not a Quentin Johnston guy. I was never a Quentin Johnston guy in the draft. I believe
a huge TCU fan in my community. So it's I feel like I'm constantly getting Quentin Johnson propaganda.
Yeah. I just don't think he's good. The types of receivers in college that scare me are big play threats, inefficient, that don't have a great catch percentage. All that stuff is scary. He's never really shown the ability to just get open. He kind of was just more athletic than people, and that can sometimes work, but it's rare, and it's not a bet that I would make. So I was on record during draft season not being in Quentin Johnson. I did not like that pick for the Chargers. I would have taken JSN went first, so I don't think they had the option.
Yeah.
But of the second receivers, I would have taken Flowers. I would have taken Mario Addison. I would have taken is it
Jordan
Mario
Addison?
Jordan Addison. Mario Addison is a human. I don't know where I got that name from. But
Jordan Addison has been so great.
He's awesome.
I'm so jealous of Minnesota right now, man.
Looks like Mario Addison is a defensive end. I was going to say, I know that's a real name.
Hey, you know what? I love it. I love it still. I wouldn't have figured that out.
Yeah. So I would have taken either receiver over him just to answer that. But yeah, he's just not good. That's really what it just comes down to. Jalen Reagor is a TCU receiver. He's not good.
Well, and I was trying to give it time in the sense that I was like, okay, Mike Williams is out. Let's see how they end up using him. And I'm not fully convinced yet. I also, especially with Guyton back, that could change things definitely for Quentin Johnson for sure.
Yeah. Also that he might not need to do as much.
Exactly. He might not even see much action tonight. So, yeah.
When Palmer was healthy, it was, again, they weren't doing much with Quentin Johnson. He's kind of been forced into action and it hasn't been going that great.
Yeah.
All right. Any more player props that you like for tonight, or shall we build a parlay?
No,
I didn't have a ton. I gotta be honest. I did not really feel the juice in this one.
Nope. I think, yeah. Not really. I mean, I of course have some emotional picks, but they're not something that I would like put out
You
there
tell
and
people
suggest for others.
I think as long as you preface it that it's an emotional pick, and then I think you can as long as you tell the people.
I think I feel that way with the Justin Herbert rushing touchdown. You know, because
Fair,
I
totally
like
fair.
the odds enough, and so I'm here with my quarterback. I think that's where I'm at with that one.
That would you say that's your quarterback?
Yeah,
TO, that's my quarterback.
exactly. That's my quarterback.
I kind of like a defensive score. Jets defense, Chargers defense. I feel like one of them is going to score.
You know what? I would ride with that for sure.
I don't know who. Like the better defense is obviously the Jets defense. The more likely quarterback to give you an easy defensive touchdown is the Jets quarterback. So it's tough. Both are plus 600. I wish you could do an either or there.
I know.
One of these teams will score a defensive touchdown. Maybe that's like a special.
I love an either or. I was going to say I could, I might check some of the game specials. And I think that's why I liked the first touchdown boost, because I like the either or.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm trying to quickly go through the game specials to see if there's anything, but looks like it's not going to happen.
I know I'm looking too.
Kind of like I guess, and then they have most receiving yards, not most receptions. Never mind. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you just put like a small $10 on both defenses, and one of them scores, then you're gonna be up 5 units, basically, or whatever percent that is, because it's the plus 600 odds. I meant to mention this. I do agree with the comment that they should just can Brandon Staley. The team's going nowhere. They have a losing record. If they lose to the Jets, you got to just let that guy go.
And that's where I was like, where I was torn last week with. I'm like, I want my team to win, but if they lost against the Bears, then maybe it would have been gone.
That's true. So now it's just 1 week. You just delay it a week. All right. Let's spend the last couple minutes building a parlay. I was trying to just quickly gather props that we liked. I think we both liked the Breece Hall.
So I liked Breece Hall receptions and receiving yards. I think there was more value at the regular receiving yard line. You could only juice it up yourself if you took alternate, but I did like the receiving yard line. I believe it's still
23.5 is minus 110.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Who else?
And Austin Eckler on receptions.
Total receptions for Eckler. Yes, we did talk about that as well. So those together gets us at 217. If you really, I don't know if this would probably be a straight up, not a parlay, but if you really like Jalen Guyton, he's plus 850 to score. If you think that anybody else outside of like basically Keenan Allen or Austin Eckler. I was totally blanking on his name. Austin Eckler scored. You could get some value on Jalen Guyton. I don't know. Is there like an anytime touchdown that you like in terms of a parlay? Because none of them are that great.
No, I don't love the odds on any of these.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably go with you. I wish we could get like an either defensive touchdown.
Yeah. Either that should be an option. You do an either or.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we can just sit out of the anytime touchdowns.
I do. I mean, I have been a huge Keenan Allen fan for a long time. I just my thing is
he's awesome. He's so good.
He's so great. So
yeah, he's awesome.
I mean, that's at plus 135. So I mean, it's something, but
yeah, we could just stick to those three. Breece Hall over 23.5 receiving yards, Austin Eckler over 4.5 receptions, and Keenan Allen anytime touchdown. So those of you watching,
what does that push you up to?
Plus 642.
Okay.
So not terrible, and really, as long as you get above the plus 500 number, I think we're good there. Let's see, real quick. I want to get to the comments. Do I think the Texans make the playoffs? Honestly, I don't know what the playoff landscape looks like for the AFC. I would guess probably not, because they're so hit or miss. Like they just lost to the freaking Panthers last week.
Right.
Let's see,
and I don't think that has anything to do with CJ Stroud. I think it's
he's awesome.
It's just literally how the rest of the AFC shapes up.
Yeah, like how many games are they back? So let's like the Bengals are the first team in at 5-3. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'd probably guess no. And obviously, the odds would be favoring that. Like the odds aren't going to have them in. So I think not yet. But I mean, CJ Stroud's awesome. I think that.
Oh my gosh, he's been phenomenal.
So yeah, he's awesome.
It is. And it's been so fun to watch, and I love seeing new life given to these teams that you've just been, oh, for heaven's sakes, just been waiting for, so.
The Texans deserve it after what they went through with Bill O'Brien and then Deshaun Watson. I mean, they deserve it.
They full on deserve it. And I just, I do feel a little bit for Lovie Smith, though. I will say that, like, it does suck.
Yeah, he got a raw deal. And same with, I forget the guy before him, David, what was his name? The coach before, like, they fired 2 coaches back to back.
Right in a row. Yeah.
David Caldwell, I think was his name. They both gave him a raw deal. It just felt icky, the whole situation.
The way it all panned out, absolutely.
Yeah, but those fans, they deserve a good quarterback. So let's hope CJ Stroud can be that and not turn into a monster like Deshaun Watson. Because they thought they had one there. Cool. All right. Anything else that you have for this game?
I was gonna say I do have another free play this week on FanDuel if you want to join in.
Go ahead and send that to me. I'll put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
David Cawley, I think was the guy's name. I think the coach, just to give him
you're right.
proper respect. Yeah, he just got a total raw deal.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, just send me the link and I'll put it in the chat. Oh, you did send it. Sorry, I was looking at text.
Oh, you're good. No, yeah. I just put it in the
There you go. Yeah, so everybody, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody can use.
I think it's just like Alaska and one other state that like can't.
Freaking Alaska. It's a beautiful state. I was just there, but come on, get with the times.
Yeah, seriously. Get with the rest of America.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to take a look, the free plays in the chat, basically, you just put in your, top 5 players stay under the salary cap. And what's great is even if you're not like a normal DFS player, you can take a look at the suggestions or short lists of who they say that you should pick. But it's just like normal fantasy, except for you're just putting a lineup together for tonight. And I think like prizes go out to I think like the top 5 or 8 people usually. So it's totally free to enter. It's really fun. And what I love about it too is that even if you're in a non-betting state like me, you can still play. So
there you go. That's the beauty of DFS. Cool. Yes. Everybody play DFS. Might as well do that. It's free. Help out a friend. Cool. All right. Well, Bridget, appreciate you for joining. Chat, Mark, Justin, whoever else commented, Christian, looks like Mr. Mechanical just came at the very end. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's all win our bets tonight. Go Chargers. As long as they win by 3 or fewer, I'm good with that. And the game goes under, I'll be good with that as well. But yeah, appreciate everybody for joining, and we'll catch you next time.